Assalamu alaikum. There are two verses in Surah An-Nahl that show us that when we connect to ar-ruh, the spirit, it raises our level of consciousness. It helps us to develop restraint and moral inhibition, and helps us to plan for the future and inhibit our impulses. And it also makes us firmly rooted. All this from a connection to ar-ruh. Let's look at these verses. So verse 2, he says, ينزل الملائكة بالروح من أمره على من يشاء من عباده أن أنذروا أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاتقون. So he says that he sends down al-malaika with ar-ruh, min amrihi, the spirit from his command. So we have to later talk about the word amr, but right now we're focusing on spirit. على من يشاء من عباده, upon whosoever he wills of his servants. And what kind of energy or consciousness or awareness does this spirit bring? An andiru, that you should warn. So you become on a different level of consciousness that you want to share information and warn. But what are you warning about? Annahu la ilaha illa ana, that there is no God, there's no thing that's worthy of devotion except I. Why except I, right? So it's talking from the first person also. So it brings this energy of unity, the unity of the law and the laws that govern all of us and govern this universe. And perhaps that's what is expressed by Allah, right? Is the sum of all of the laws that govern this universe. So annahu la ilaha illa ana, that there is no object of devotion except I, except following these universal intelligent laws that govern the universe. Fattaqun. So, and then have taqwa. So taqwa could imply restraint and inhibition and protecting oneself from the consequences, the long-term consequences of one's actions. So thinking ahead. So this is the level of awareness that ar-ruh min amrihi brings, the spirit from his command. And then if you go to the end of this chapter, and I think it's reasonable to combine these two verses together in meaning, because they're both in the same chapter. So I don't think that's random. So if you go to the end of the chapter in verse 102, he says, قُلْ نَزَّلَهُ رُوحُ الْقُدُسِ مِنْ رَبِّكَ بِالْحَقِّ. Say, Ruhul Qudus, the Spirit of the Holy, has sent it down from your Lord بالحق, with truth. لِيُثَبِّتَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, in order to make firm those who have believed. So here the connection to Ruhul Qudus is to give tathbit, to give stability, to anchor those who have believed. So when you put the two verses together, the first verse tells us that ar-ruh min amrihi, the spirit from his command, brings this awareness of the unity of existence and the unity of the universe. And fattaqun, it also brings the awareness of the ethical responsibility to inhibit one's impulses and to plan for the future. And then when we connect that to 16:102, we see that that connection to the ruh that brings that awareness is a source of tathbit. It's a source of giving us deep roots so that we're not shaken. And that's why he says, Ruhul Qudus has sent it down from your Lord with truth, لِيُثَبِّتَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, in order to make firm and to give roots to those who have believed. And the reason I keep saying to give roots to, because this word tathbit or thabat, or something being thabit, is used in the Quran. For example, in Surah Ibrahim, he uses it for a tree. He says, أَصْلُهَا ثَابِتْ وَفَرْعُهَا فِي السَّمَاءِ. Its root or its foundation or its main part is thabit. It's firmly rooted. It's firmly stabilized and anchored. وَفَرْعُهَا فِي السَّمَاءِ, and its branches reach to the heaven. So when he says here, لِيُثَبِّتَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, to give them tathbit. You know how hard it is to get a tree out of the ground when its roots are very deep into the ground? So in the same way, لِيُثَبِّتَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, to give them that thabat, that deep rootedness that's hard to uproot. So this is the connection to ar-ruh, and Allah knows best. Assalamu alaikum.